Hello, wonderful people. How you doing? Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I know there's some shitty things happening right now, but we all got something to be grateful for, you know. But this is something that seems like it's relevant for today, because it's like Thanksgiving, founding of America, Protestants escaped Rome and the Vatican, and all that shit. The real history of today is celebration of independence from Rome. That's worth being thankful for. Unfortunately, we are going to see whether or not we are in the middle of a Jesuit takeover, right? Because that's what they do. They infiltrate, divide, and then conquer. That's every time. So, to start this, we should acknowledge the Jesuits are a wing of the Roman Catholic Church, right? They're like the mercenaries or the army, right? The stealth army. The Navy SEALs of the Vatican. That's what it is. These bastards are infinitely resourceful, right? The Pope backs them. The Pope is over all commerce and whatever. So any finances or any resources they need, they have. Period. It has the full backing of the Pope. And interestingly enough, the current Pope is a Jesuit himself, right? Did you know that? Did you know the Pope right now is a Jesuit? Because he is. Which is probably why he's been pushing all these liberal ideologies, right? Because it's a liberal sect. That's what they do. Globalization and liberalism. That's what they're for. Alright. As you and I know, the Vatican is head of commerce globally, and thus it is the beneficiary of money production, right? There's a belief that the Federal Reserve inside of a country prints the money, and that's not true. There's some truth to it, but it's international commercial banks that actually print the money. The Federal Reserve within the nation receives the money and controls the flow of it, so to speak. It's a little different, Now, with the papacy being the head of business and commerce, and they absolutely are, they would be the main benefactors, right? If they're over top of international corporations, even national corporations, and it's international commercial banks that print the money, they're tied in together. Alright. These, this Pope and the Vatican and shit, they have extorted every single person who has ever lived, ever lived, at least in the past few hundred years. This is the church of the world. Those who are of this world, they are okay with this church, right? And they go along with it. But those of us who are from above see the wickedness. So, looking at the Jesuit playbook, like I just said a second ago, they get in and infiltrate these groups, organizations, movements, whatever it may be. They divide from within, and then they conquer every time. But we look at their playbook, we see that they are a globalist organization, society, if you want to call it that, obviously, and they are liberal in direction. They intend to drag the world to this leftist wet dream. The Dark Ages is what it is. When the church is the central source of all power and knowledge and information, right? And everybody else is just poor as shit. It's the Dark Ages. The only source of power is the church, right? Their number one weapon is infiltration, as I said before. These people, though, these Jesuits and these infiltrators, they are the lifetime actors, right? You see shit on TV, you can tell all this is fake. Those lifetime actors, they're reused and recycled in different events. Those are the Jesuits. As soon as they enter, right, what it is there's colleges. Everywhere around the world, there's colleges. Some of them are Jesuit colleges, Catholic, right? Immediately, they are indoctrinated to not question the church and are taught a literal physical understanding only of the Bible, right? And this is from what I've gathered. They don't really know anything real. They only know what the church tells them because they're not allowed to question the church. That's the first lesson. The church is boss. Don't go against it. So they don't question anything. And so they have little understanding, right? So they just do what the church tells them. It's pretty intense. These people are brainwashed, and they play roles that they don't break ever. That's it. If you go to Matt, Quantum of Conscience, and he'll tell you all about the weird shit, the reality breakdowns, and the false flags, it's all this. It's all an act from these same people that never break character. And it gets better. Another tool, right, is related to that, and that is theater, right? Other than the Vatican School trains them up, builds them a false character for this false world, and then they play that character and infiltrate groups, split them up, and then conquer the whole group. After that, right? Another tool is that same theater. They are responsible for these false flags. Everyone you can remember in recent years, that's what it is. It's theater. The reach of the Vatican is incredible. Entire sets, right? And entire crews of people do this. It's literally a stage. Literally. The whole world is a stage. But I hope you get my point. If you wonder why, you go to the news and you see a crisis and there's always a 33 on the license plate, or there's some sign of that sort, right? That's because it's Jesuit, bro. The Society of Jesus. These people believe that they are doing the right thing. The church tells them to do it, and they believe that they're doing the right thing by inducing this terror to manipulate others into submission. They really believe it. The symbols, and it's a set, right? It's not just a random street, which it may very well be sometimes, but these people, they do acts on the streets in real life as though they were on a set. Entire sets, crews of people, right? The symbols found at these false flags are a way to honor Jesus, right? Their concept of Jesus, which is usually just the sun, because it's a bunch of sun worship. Here's a note, right? This is important. The first Jesuit theater, the live action play that they do, was in Vienna in 1555. This theater was the beginning of the Counter-Reformation. Not the Reformation itself, but the Counter-Reformation, right? They have this idea that entertainment is what sways people to take sides, right? The Protestants were like, fuck the Catholic Church. So, sorry, I didn't mean to cuss. So the Counter-Reformation comes along and just gives people entertainment. And the people side with the entertainment because they don't want to do anything hard. They just want to be comfortable. It's always the same old story with these Jesuit plays. It's the two sides at war, right? Hegelian dialectic, you could call it. That's the entertainment. It's a common theme of the Jesuit theater. Between the years 1597, 1600, and 1773, there were more than 500 of these acts. They were performed as though they were reality, right? That is to say that these acts are what we today call false flags. They put this theater out anywhere, wherever it may be, to manipulate the beliefs of people. These plays have created, right? And this, after 1773, it seems like that's when they really started. Hold on one sec. Sorry, guys. All right. So, after 1773 is when they really got into it. All right. Everything we know about history, right? Especially from the founding of America back, right? Because after that, we kind of can study and shit. But everything we know about history is nothing more than the result of these theatrical performances used to manipulate the world, right? Let's say 600 years ago, something happened in Europe. These Jesuits and their crew would go to the place where the event happened, stage a separate event that would manipulate the way people think about that first event, right? They did it everywhere. Everywhere. Everything that we know about history is just the reaction to these Jesuit plays. All the world is a show. This is it. Does this change your perception of the world? It hurts me to think, right, that everything about history and about the world is controlled by theater. These people acting out these crises or these moments of great accomplishment in human history, like the moon landing or whatever it may be. People just walk into it like it's true. It hurts me to think that this is the Vatican that does all this. Their reach and their control. The more I look, the more I see, and the more it shocks me. Everything you have ever learned about the world is an act in one of these plays. It's crazy. The greatest and longest running play, Jesuit play, is The Government, because it's fictitious. There's nothing real about it. Nobody has ever lived that had the authority to do the things that these governments do. It's a play. It's all theater. The most effective play is CV, the one that's playing out right now. And the most beneficial one, the play that has lasted a long time and they've got the most benefit out of over time, is Hollywood. But that CV one, man, that was quick, and there was a big power shift. Hollywood slowly degraded the minds of people over time. But England produced the greatest playwright of all time, Shakespeare. Shakespeare was a Jesuit. Everything you see is, from the government and what they do, or the TV and the bullshit you see on there, it's all theater. All of it. And this is so interesting to me, because before I was even made aware of this, right? I've just been learning about this the past few days. I was in the works on my Q video as well, right? Because like I said, I do like 10 things at the same time. And I was going to make this point, right? The Q saying, where we go one, we go all, right? That is the exact same statement made in Fratelli Tutti, when the Pope said, we aren't saved alone, but we are all saved together. Same people, bro. Same act, same theater. If you like Q, don't get mad at me and, be mean or unsubscribe or none of that. Just take it for what it is, yo. It ain't a big deal. The funny thing about the Q thing is, I was watching the Q scene, right? Watching what's going on and these accusations and shit. And what threw me off, right, was I read a verse in the Bible. It said, be part of no group, for what group can contain both light and dark, right? And I was like, oh shit, that's interesting. And then I just thought about it, right? And I thought about the Q thing, where we go one, we go all. What if one decides to walk into hell, Do we all go with him? Yeah, no, that was the end of it for me. That's when I checked out of the whole Q thing. No thanks. And once I did that, right, once I was no longer invested in what Q had going on, I was able to see the bigger picture, right? Instead of focusing on what Q had going on, I was able to step back and look at the entire spectrum, and it's a play. It's nothing more than a play, right? It's easy. If you ain't invested in Q, it's easy to see what Q is. But we'll get into that in the Q video, right? Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to see the Q video anyway, because I try to, I'm not, super internet smart, so I try to Google what is 4chan and how it works and shit, just to get the ground laid down, and you can't do it. If you type Q anything into YouTube, Google, DuckDuckGo. You just get mainstream media pages and pages and pages and pages. Anyway, these people use theater. Like, you're going to kill grandma. And the whole corona thing. It's all theater. They use it to subvert and divide and conquer. I like tea. Alright, now, this is where we're at now, okay? The U.S. was founded by Protestants, right? And assuming that the whole Protestant Reformation wasn't part of the theater, which I read an interesting little bit, and it leads me to believe that no, it wasn't. The Protestant Reformation came about when Bibles were first being produced by Gutenberg in his big press thing. So somebody bought one and started looking in it, and it was, what's his name? The guy that actually did the whole Reformation. How'd I forget that? Anyway, as soon as he looked in the Bible and started reading through what it actually said, he was like, oh, hell nah. The church is messed up, yo. And that's when he went and did his 95 Thesis. It turns out that guy was also a monk, right? And the Knights Templar, they were monks. So this, you know, it all connects together. All right. The U.S. is a Protestant nation, right? It's not Catholic, it's not Christian, it's Protestant. It was founded by the people who said, hey, Vatican, you know? And that's assuming that it isn't theater. Oh, I'll get to that in a second. So, this is where we're at now. The U.S. was founded by Protestants, people who called bullshit on the whole Vatican theater, because the entire existence of the Vatican is pretend. The authority is not real. It is a beast that is. It's there. You can go see the building and shit, but really, it isn't. It shouldn't exist, and it only exists in pretend land. It came from the void, right? It's nothing, and it only exists in the minds of men. Nowhere else. Men live entire lives in this theater, this nothing, this illusion, this void, and then they return to the nothing, the illusion, the void. I personally choose to serve the God of truth, the real God, the real, true, and living God, not an illusion, not a pretend, whatever. Anyway, in the U.S., right, the committees and subcommittees, this is a quote here, the committees and subcommittees of the United States Senate and House of Representatives governing commerce, communications, and telecommunications. This is going to be, energy, medicine, health, education and welfare, human services, consumer protection, finance and financial institutions, transportation, labor, unemployment, hazardous materials, taxation, bank regulation, currency, monetary policy, oversight of the Fed, commodity prices, rent, services, small business administration, urban affairs, European affairs, Near Eastern, Southern Asia affairs, terrorism, narcotics, international communications, international economic trade, oceans, environmental policy, insurance, housing, community development, federal loan guarantees, economic stabilization measures, including wage and price control, gold and precious metal transactions, agriculture, animal and forestry industries, rural issues, nutrition, price supports, food for peace, agricultural exports, soil, it's all of it. Let me start over. The committees and subcommittees of the United States Senate and House of Representatives govern all of it. Let me see here. All right. They govern all of it. In other words, virtually every aspect of secular life in America came under the chairmanship of one of these Roman Catholic laypersons, right? All that shit that was on that list is governed by these Catholics. Frank Azunio, Joseph Biden. This is 1993. Joseph Biden it was common sense. Silvio Conte Kika, something, Thomas Harkin, Edward Kennedy, John Kerry. There's a big list, giant list of names. There's probably 30. John Kerry. John Kerry was also one, right? The reason I added this part is because in 1993, it was firmly established that Joe Biden and John Kerry were Catholic and owned by the Vatican to play a role. These Jesuits, right? The funny thing is, today, as I'm looking through the headlines on the news, looking for Coco Melon, I see it said Biden selected John Kerry to be the chairman for the climate change bullshit, right? And you know what's funny about that? John Kerry is also a Catholic, owned by the Vatican. What are the chances? Actors picking actors. It's crazy. Alright, so they were hired to play a role, both of them, all of them, to eventually bring about the desires of the Catholic Church. The church of this world. This world. The earthy world. You got to rise above this shit. If you look at the signs, right? This is so cool. If you look at the signs at the 2020 DNC, right behind them on the stage, it was to their right, which would be stage right, but as you're looking at them, it's on the left. Joseph Biden. You'll see a sign, right? That is the Joe Biden sign. And the B has sunglasses. You know what I'm talking about? That image is inverted, right? If you take that sign and look at the negative, if you just see it, you'll never be able to unsee it. It's actually a literal bee. The bee. The little bzz and sting you bee, right? And it's about the hive mind. The mind of this world. That's what these people do. I recommend you Google it and see. The lenses for the glasses, those are the wings of the bee. Check it out. You'll never be able to unsee it. So, we're almost done here. These same people are using theater to divide the Protestant nation and destroy it. It's already happening. You can say JFK was a good president, but I'm pretty sure he was the first Catholic president. Actor. Some examples of this theater are CV. The war on terror, the war on drugs. It's all bullshit. Another example. North Korea is an American corporation. Google it. Well, don't Google it because they won't tell you anything. Use DuckDuckGo. Whatever way that you do, look into it. North Korea is an American corporation with roughly 1,000 employees. The charade is massive. Everything that we think that we know is theater. How many pictures have you really seen of North Korea? You remember the movie, The Interview? You remember that? Usually, it's just Kim Jong-un with a few people, right? You know how he's just sitting at the table, there's 6 or 7 people? That's why, it's a corporation. Also, Canada is an American corporation. That's true. The funny thing about this is that the smaller America owns these bigger country corporations, right? Like North Korea and Canada and all that shit. But inside of America, the smaller corporations, Forbes, Walmart, all that shit, those are owned by China. The inside of America is Chinese, and outside of America, everything is American. Theater, bro. So, to end this, everything we know about society, whether national or global, is theater. As was the theater war. America in World War II. The theater war. Now, after the 9/11, the tower thing, the stuff that's happening now was supposed to happen then. Like, everything that you see happening now was supposed to happen right after 9/11. They were supposed to take over. But the people didn't allow that shit to happen. Because the people are the only ones that can stop this. So now, after these globalist organizations were defunded, right? And there's no more money going to these globalist organizations, which are corporations, essentially, and owned by the Vatican, because they feed off taxpayers. And they're owned by the Vatican, as all international corporations are. So before they ran out of money and their plan ended and decades of theater were wasted, they went full out assault. They really did. That's what we're seeing happen now. They're lashing out. It's now or never. The unfortunate thing is that people believe their leaders are going to stop this, right? They think, oh, Trump's going to save us. Boris Johnson's going to save us. Justin Trudeau is this and that. And that just isn't true. They're actors. And if you want proof of that, Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York, got an Emmy Award for his speaking about the coronavirus and shit, put dying people in nursing homes. He got an Emmy for that. You know what an Emmy is? Right, for Best Actor. Only you and I have the power to stop this. And we need to fight now. Like, I'm a peaceful person, but you can't let people take over the world, man. You just can't do it. They're going to anyway, I guess, because people are just going to sit around and do nothing. They're looking for entertainment still. Always just wanting to be entertained. Bread and circuses. It's crazy. So, in an attempt to get people to surrender their rights so that the neighbor's safe, yeah, here, take my gun in case I go crazy and shoot somebody, or I'll wear this mask to keep them safe because if I might cough on them, you know what I mean? They're going to get people to do that by using methods of psychological torture, which I shared the video for yesterday and took you to somebody that worded it better than I could. But every single thing that's happening right now is psychological torture to get people to submit, right? And this leads me to believe that the only real pandemic is suicide. Klaus Schwab said himself that when these great economic shifts happen, people can't deal with it, and so they kill themselves. It's crazy. Really crazy. It's sad. But I don't know, man. People got to start speaking to each other, coming together soon, right? People that we don't like, right? Order followers, the police, these loony liberals that scream and lose their fucking minds, conservatives that are all about Trump and Q, right? They don't get it now. But pretty soon there's going to come a time when they are shut out from what they believe is helping them, right? And they're not going to be like that. They're going to realize, oh man, I really messed up. I really wanted some bad things to happen, right? And when that time comes, we can't condemn them and call them dumbasses and kick them around for voting for Biden, right? Popularity vote means nothing anyway. We have to accept them, right? And we have to get them to fight this oppression with us instead of us bumping heads, right? And the police, right? They're order followers. They're worthless, basically. But a time's gonna come, right, when the police ain't even used anymore, because I guarantee you, and it's been said many times, part of this plan is to bring military onto the streets. That's just how it goes. The military gets involved, and when that happens, the police ain't gonna be shit, right? And rather than assault them and insult them and kick them to the side and condemn them, we need to let them know, you know, like, you can't condemn them. You just forgive them, and then we work together to change the future. Because if this shit goes down, bro, it's going to be bad. Bad, bad. The last time the Catholic Church had power, you know what happened? The Dark Ages. I don't really want to go back to the Dark Ages. But, that's it, guys. I'm done here. Remember, be compassionate and empathetic. I love you all. Peace out, friends.